जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Let's chant the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। So it's 3:26, 58, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. हस्तौ च निरभिद्येताम् बलं ताभ्यां ततस्वराट् पादौ च निरभिद्येताम् गतिस्ताभ्यां ततो हरि। Yeah, bro, you can recite. हस्तौ च निरभिद्येताम् बलं ताभ्यां ततस्वराट् पादौ च निरभिद्येताम् गतिस्ताभ्यां ततो हरि। Actually, you're supposed to read 3 times, so you read one more time.
Hare.
Yeah.
Hastau cha nirabhidyetam
Hastau cha nirabidhyetam
balam tabhyam tatasvarat
balam tapyam tataswarat
padau cha nirabhidyetam
padau cha nirabidhyetam
gati tabhyam tato hari.
gatistabhyam tato hari. Hastau,
Hastau,
the 2 hands.
the 2 hands.
Cha,
Cha
and
and
nirabidhyetam
nirabhidyetam
were manifested.
were manifested.
Balam,
Balam,
power.
power.
Tabhyam,
Tabhyam,
from them.
from them.
Tata,
Tata,
thereafter.
thereafter.
Swarat,
Swarat,
Lord Indra.
Lord Indra.
Pado,
Father,
the 2 feet.
the 2 feet.
Cha,
Cha
and
and
nirabidhyetam
nirabhidyetam
became manifested.
became manifested.
Gati,
Gati,
the process of movement.
the process of
Tabhyam,
Tabhyam,
from them.
from them.
Tata,
Tata,
then.
then
Hari,
Hari,
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu.
Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Thereafter, the 2 hands of the universal form of the Lord became manifested, and with them, the power of grasping and dropping things. And after that, Lord Indra appeared. Next, the legs became manifested, and with them, the process of movement. And after that, Lord Vishnu appeared. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
The deity presiding over the hands is Indra, and the presiding deity of movement is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Vishnu appeared on the appearance of the legs of the Virat Purusha. Again, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, completely unqualified to speak anything on Srimad Bhagavatam. So, I'm just seeking the blessings of all the devotees. I hope all the devotees will bless me so that I can glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So, it's a very wonderful purport because every single word spoken by Srila Prabhupada is non-different from Srila Prabhupada. Vani of Guru is non-different from Guru. And Vani of Guru means the relationship that Guru has with Krishna is also contained within that Vani. Vani is very, very powerful. Salpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. So mahato in this verse in Bhagavad Gita speaks about Mahat. Mahat means the divine person. So Mahat Shri Shri Radha Gopi Jana Vallabh Nitaya Padusbhavan Gauravi Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada's words are not different from Srila Prabhupada. And by taking advantage of even one letter, one word spoken by Srila Prabhupada in the spirit of surrender and the spirit of absolute dependence on Srila Prabhupada can give us complete perfection. So yesterday I was reading a purport and Srila Prabhupada was saying that one moment's association with a pure devotee can guarantee all perfection. So this pure devotional association is very, very powerful. But the most important thing to take the association of the pure devotee is not space or physical situation. The most important thing is actually the closeness of the heart, which means to have complete faith, to have complete faith. So this unflinching faith, this complete faith in the words of a great personality is the main requisite for attaining his causeless mercy. So the reason why I'm speaking for myself only, the reason why we can't realize the weight of the words of great personalities is because familiarity, material familiarity, and lack of spiritual familiarity. So, because we have not experienced their divinity so much, that extent that uh, there is no doubt, we have no tinge of doubt that this person is coming from the spiritual world. So, because of that, we're not able to put that faith all the time. And because we're not putting the faith, therefore, we're not getting what actually the personality is saying between the lines. Because one thing is what he says, but the other thing is the mood that he's carrying. So that's why sometimes we have to hear a lecture many times to understand the mood that that personality is carrying. And it's it has to be revealed by Krishna, because the saintly personality is very, very dear to Krishna. So just it is said that saintly person is so powerful that just by standing near the saintly person, you get immense spiritual benefit. You get immense spiritual benefit. Um, this immense spiritual benefit that you get by staying near a saintly person is that the devotion and the love that he has for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is transmitted to your heart, even whether you understand or not. Just like when you touch fire, then whether you understand or not, it burns. So same way, when you stand near a saintly person, his spiritual potency, it touches you. So that's why it's very important to stay always in the association of sincere, serious devotees, because by the effect of their subtle body, many things will be realized just by their mercy. So Krishna consciousness means to make our consciousness one with the consciousness of great saintly persons. That's why Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti. Kabe Homo Bujavo se Yugala Pirit. So to actually serve Krishna, serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the most important thing is to make our consciousness one with the consciousness of great souls. And that's why it's very important to hear from great souls on a regular basis. One of the most powerful effect of hearing from pure devotees with faith, whether you're hearing in person or you're hearing online, is that your own faults, your own shortcomings will become visible. Because what pure devotees do is pure devotees take you to a level of consciousness which is far beyond what you are. And from that consciousness, you can see your own faults, you can see your own shortcomings. That's why it's very important to hear from pure devotees on a regular basis. And what is the qualification to hear from pure devotees? How can we hear from pure devotees? Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. When you perform our service sincerely and seriously on a regular basis, by the power of that service, Krishna will give us the taste and the interest to hear from great souls. So, hearing is the beginning, hearing is the process, and hearing is the end also. Because ultimately, by the process of hearing, again and again, we hear the scriptures, we hear the holy name. By the power of attentive, faithful hearing, one can perceive the spiritual world. And ultimately, Krishna consciousness is all about perception. So the more the more and more our perception is real and is ecstatic and is enlivening, correspondingly our enthusiasm will also be like that. So that's why we have to be very, very careful and conscious that we are keeping a check, we are keeping a track on what we're doing in our spiritual life, where we're going, what we're doing, who we're meeting, what we're eating, etc., etc. And also, it's very, very important to constantly pray for the mercy of great souls. Karnana hoile kandiya kandiya pranana rakhibo ar. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaking about the mood of a real disciple. Because a real disciple, he wants the causeless mercy of the spiritual master, the causeless mercy of pure devotees of the Lord. And this causeless mercy, the ultimate achievement of causeless mercy means what? It means that you can always see the spiritual world in front of you, or at least to begin with, you can always see a Krishna present in front of you, at least in the form of his influence. Like it's a great benediction. It's the greatest benediction. There's no greater benediction than that, because every time you see, you become attracted. I mean, you see something enlivening to the heart, you become attracted, and that attraction propels you towards performing devotional service. And like just now, I was just observing that Rohinandan Prabhu was doing artik, and by seeing, I became so ecstatic. Actually, I was like, wow, he's doing arti with so much ecstasy. And I mean, again, it's not an imagination, or not a mental imposition, but it's real experience. It's a real experience. So the ultimate purpose of all our spiritual activities is to experience. Like his Holiness Ranath Maharaj says, realization is a gift from Krishna, and that's the only gift we want from Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees. So the Krishna consciousness movement. So movement means we have to move, we have to progress. And anything which is stifling our progress, anything which is stopping our progress, we should be very, very careful to avoid. Like Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that a devotee, as soon as he sees some weeds growing beside the creeper of bhakti, he should immediately cut it down. You should immediately cut it down. So that's what we have to be. We have to be very, very careful, very, very careful. And ultimately, how much ever our anarthas may haunt us, may disturb us, the only thing that ultimately matters is that how much we are able to engage in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada says one should always have hope that one will come out of this anarthas, come out of these difficult situations, just as there is always the chance that a log which is floating on the bank of the river will come to the shore and will take rest there, or will rest there. So in the same way, there is always hope, and the only thing we have to keep seeing is okay, I am going through this particular difficulty. So what do I need to do? What is Krishna indicating to me? Is my sadhana weak? Am I taking association of non-devotees? What am I doing? Why is it that this particular anartha or this particular thing is disturbing me? So we just have to keep seeing, we have to try our best and take guidance from devotees as to how to do it. And honestly, Srila Prabhupada says that the most powerful force uh, to stop all anarthas, to stop all disturbances, is to please Krishna. So the more and more we desire to please Krishna, there's a desire to please Krishna will help us, a strong desire to please Krishna will help us to come out of all our difficulties. So pure devotees also have this very powerful ability that they help us to see beyond our immediate situation, immediate suffering. So when you see far beyond, when you see like, okay, this is what I really want to achieve, and pure devotees, they attract us to that particular consciousness, to that goal more and more. And so because of that, by attraction to that goal, we become more and more inspired to perform our spiritual activities. So in previous lectures also it has been spoken on how different demigods, different personalities, they control different parts of the body. So all these aspects are given in Srimad Bhagavatam just to make us understand two things. One thing is that this material, this body is given by Maya, and the objects that this body is going to come in contact with, they're also given by Maya. So both are given by Maya. There is no Krishna there. So the reason why Srimad Bhagavatam, it speaks about all these things, is to help us to become detached from this body and to actually understand that this body is given to us because we became rebellious against Krishna. And if we don't use this body for serving Krishna, for worshipping Krishna, to develop our attachment to Krishna, then this body will be used by these different personalities. And these different personalities who are going to use this body, they're not going to use this body for Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very, very careful that, of course, here's mentioned Vishnu, but it is said that other demigods, they, of course, I'm not referring to Vishnu here, but generally what devatas do is devatas constantly try to fulfill one's material desires. That's what they do. You have some desire, you want to enjoy something, so devata will constantly fulfill that desire, will bring that object in front of you. So what we have to be very careful about is, we have to be very careful about our aspiration. We have to be very careful about our association. And the more and more we pray, especially when we pray from the core of the heart, that I am struggling to cultivate pure devotional desires always, and because of my nonsense desires, I am not making progress in Krishna consciousness. When we constantly pray, then by Krishna's mercy, by Guru's mercy, everything happens. Everything happens. And actually, the greatest gift of Krishna, the greatest gift of Guru, is to forcefully engage us in the service of the Lord in such a way, in such a consciousness, that we're always enthused, always excited and enchanted, and at the same time, we are not distracted by material things. So everything has a price, everything has a price. But the problem is, the main problem is that many times we're not able to see the benefit of our situation. Like recently we were hearing this Holiness Ramnath Maharaj was saying, was so special. He was speaking about, this is the most important part of his life actually. I feel like any disciple, any devotee who really wants to get to know him should hear this lecture, because see, ultimately Guru teaches by his own example. Acharya teaches by his own example. Everyone has a particular part of their life. Every Guru in ISKCON has a part of their life which actually teaches how they demonstrated devotional service. Like just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's most important practical lesson is crying for Krishna, and he taught that in Gambhir. And if anyone wants to know how to cry for Krishna, what it means to cry for Krishna, then you can read those pastimes of Mahaprabhu in Antya Leela and try to understand what it means. And of course, it's throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, but the culmination is in Antya Leela. So, as Holiness Ramnath Maharaj was speaking about how he used to serve the deities. And a number of things he mentioned. The first thing he mentioned was that there were no material distractions. This is the only distraction which was there, was material miseries. So there was no distraction practically. And then he mentioned that how by Prabhupada's mercy, of course, he's a pure devotee, but by Prabhupada's mercy, he was always so enthusiastic and so proud. You mentioned the word proud. That really touched my heart. Actually, how much proud are we of our position, that we are serving Krishna? How much proud are we that we are disciple of such and such spiritual master? How much proud are we that we are under such a exalted personalities, exalted Shiksha Gurus like Kishore Prabhu in our life? How much proud we are we? So there's a first he said pride. He was very proud of that situation. The next thing he mentioned was that this is a very deep realization, but that shows what he's actually doing. So he said that when I was serving the deities, I saw no difference between this practically than and no difference between this service and the service that the eternal associates of Krishna do in the spiritual world. So this is not a mental imposition, but this is actually a realization. This is actually a realization. So this is a standard actually that we have to strive for, that we should strive to have this kind of experience, this kind of life, when we feel like, yeah, I'm actually in the spiritual world right now. I'm actually serving Krishna right now. So when we will have that kind of experience, then we'll be fully satisfied. Mara also mentioned that none of us wanted to be anywhere else in the world. And like, think about it. At that time, Maharaj had nobody knew him. I mean, nobody used to come up there anyways. And nobody put his, his dressing on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp. And he was not giving any classes, at least for some time. He was just serving. He was just serving. So, as a result of that, he made such quick, I mean, of course he's a pure devotee, but demonstrated that that's the way to make very quick spiritual advancement, and to grow in one's Krishna consciousness. And of course he didn't mention, but he was reading, with all that he was reading 1 hour, he was chanting his rounds early, and he was doing so many things. So we have to aspire for such association. And the most important thing to study here is that when they were doing that service, they had no other plan in their mind. They were not planning of, okay, after 5 years I will start preaching. Okay, after 5 years I will do this, I will do that. Why? Because they were really relishing and enjoying what they were doing. So this is very important lesson. Like my revered spiritual master also, he mentioned that when he was in the personal service of Srila Prabhupada, um, he was completely absorbed. He was so absorbed that some days he would not eat even. Like some days devotees would come from abroad and they will ask Mahaprasad of Prabhupada, and he would give that prasad and he won't eat anything a whole day, and he would be like completely absorbed. And for those of you who have had the association of pure devotees, it's so easy to become distracted. Pure devotees get so much name, so much fame, so it's very easy to become distracted, and also it's very easy to become burned out also, because I mean, not in a negative sense, but it's very easy because that energy, that situation is very, very intense. And like Srila Prabhupada, how exalted Prabhupada is. And, in the mind, if you just develop one thought or one negative, thought about Prabhupada, then that's it, your spiritual life is finished. So you can see how pure, the purity and the service mood. So the ultimate achievement of a devotee is devotional service. Ultimate achievement of a devotee is devotional service. So, I mean, these things Maharaj was mentioning, and I feel it's very, very instructive for our movement. And of course, needless to say, how much surrendered Maharaj was to his authority, or, like, this is also something very, very important to learn. Like, I feel like the real success in spiritual life comes when not just on the bodily platform, but on the mental platform, we are surrendered. So more and more we try, or we pray for that kind of consciousness, that I just want to be an instrument, not only of Guru, of Krishna, but of my immediate senior guide in Krishna consciousness. I mean, senior Vaishnavas. So the more and more we have those kind of desires, we will definitely be successful. Because the biggest danger in spiritual life is false ego. Is false ego. When we act on the platform of false ego, that's the most dangerous thing. And conversely, the most powerful protection in Krishna consciousness is to act on behalf of senior devotees. So, of course, you can ask them every moment. So, the point is to develop that kind of consciousness so that uh, the mind will, as soon as you want to do something, you all immediately think that, okay, will it please my senior devotee, my Shiksha Guru? Will it really please? So, yeah, it's very important for us to have this kind of mood. That's what will help us to become successful in Krishna consciousness. Because ultimately, for us, as we inch forward in Krishna consciousness, we understand that every moment, every seva, everything counts for us. It really matters to us because let's think about it. Like 10 years ago, where were we and where are we now and where do we want to go? So, at least for me, I see it's a very far way, long way to go. So, at every moment, every mantra, every service, it really makes a difference. It really matters. Just like, for example, if you knew that you're leaving your body in a few days, naturally, you would be very enthusiastic in every service because that's your only hope. I mean, you would put your everything into everything you do because you know that, well, I can leave very soon and my next body is going to be determined by what I do now. So yeah, it's very, very important, very, very important. And that's why many times when we go to places, I'm speaking for myself, to New York or wherever, um, again speaking for myself, that we should be careful that we don't waste time, because many times in the name of vacation or spiritual retreats we just waste time, and we lose the purpose of it. What is the purpose of visiting senior devotees, pure devotees, hearing? The purpose is to intensify our own spiritual practice, right? So that's ultimately where it boils down to. So if that becomes diluted, then there's no point. So that's why we have to be very, very careful. That's why before going to any holy place, before going anywhere, we should first ask ourselves, what is my service? What will I do there? What will my schedule there? We have to ask this question. Otherwise, we'll just go there and just waste time. That's all. We won't see any difference. So, yeah, it's very good. It's very, very good to associate with pure devotees. But the most important thing actually is to grab their mood, is to understand their mood and to imbibe their mood in our life. That's the most important thing. And they are our greatest friends, their greatest well-wishers. But what will please them is not feeding them prasad or glorifying them. What will really please them is when we really, really throw everything out from our life and just uh, want to make spiritual progress. When we really have that desire that Krishna, I just want to fully surrender to you. And see, that's the thing, that surrender is not easy, but the sooner we develop that desire, sooner so then Krishna will facilitate, Krishna will facilitate, Krishna will facilitate. So things you see with pure devotees, beginning with the Pandavas, that everything happens. You can't understand how things happen. Like, for example, who would have thought, like His Holiness Ranat Maharaj was saying, who would have thought that Srila Prabhupada, when he was writing books in Radha Damodar, who would have thought that there would be a new Vrindavan and Prabhupada would establish a new Vrindavan, old Vrindavan, new Mayapur, etc. Who would have thought? Nobody would have thought. Same way, the spiritual masters, when they were doing, like, they never thought that they were going to, become a big person. They never thought like that. They were just absorbed in their service, and by Krishna's inconceivable desire, it all happened. So what we really have to grab is, we have to grab that mood. We have to grab that mood. We have to become very much attached to our service, and we have become very much attached to our sadhana, more and more and more. And the only thing we should be attached to is to achieve pure devotional service, is to become a pure devotee, because that's what is Srila Prabhupada's ultimate instruction. Prabhupada, someone asked Prabhupada, how can I please you? And Prabhupada said, by developing your love for Krishna. Love Krishna. So love Krishna means seva. seva. So seva is the most important thing. And seva includes reading Bhagavatam, includes chanting, everything is a service. So the more and more we develop this kind of service attitude, I mean, I don't have it, I pray for it, but service attitude with a deep desire, with great appreciation for that service, really appreciating the value of that service, and at the same time feeling unqualified for that service, and at the same time relishing that service. That is the consciousness that we want to develop at every moment. And these pure devotees, they carry that mood, and that's what they do. So yeah, it's a very deep, uh, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. But what is most important thing in our spiritual life is to please devotees, is to please especially our immediate guides and authorities. And oh, you may ask the question that, well, how do I know what they want? Well, what they want is non-different from what our spiritual master wants, from what Krishna wants. So the most important thing to please them is not just what we do physically, of course that's important, but the most important thing to please them is the mood. So if we carry the correct mood, that's what will really please them. And Krishna will help us. They will help us to go forward in our sadhana, to go forward in our seva. And one thing we can always remember, that everything we're doing, everything we're thinking, everything we're planning, Krishna is always watching that. And Krishna is the most grateful person. Like there is no one more grateful than Krishna. You can see in so many examples that how Krishna washed the feet of all the persons who came to the Rajasuya Yajna. So Krishna is very grateful. So if Krishna is so grateful, if Krishna can give Putana the position of a nurse, then won't Krishna be grateful to us? Won't Krishna reciprocate? Definitely he will. 100% he will. It's just a question of understanding or appreciating that quality of Krishna more and more, and just keep continuing, keep continuing, keep continuing, keep continuing, and keep, like, a desire to sacrifice for his pleasure. Like, think about all these pure devotees. We may say that, wow, they were here, they were there, they were doing this, but we don't look at how much they sacrificed, how much they sacrificed. Like, and Krishna is very easy to lose the opportunity to make progress. Like my spiritual master was serving Prabhupada, and we say, wow, serving Prabhupada is so incredible. But it's easy to become distracted after some time, that, wow, I wish I could go and preach. I would, it's the mind. It's very easy for the mind to become distracted. Or Sri Radha Maharaj could have thought that, what is the service to the deities? So difficult to serve them. I can go somewhere else and do something else. Everyone is speaking about preaching, book distribution. I am just twirling the incense. Could have thought, and as soon as you think a few times, then Krishna will change situation. Okay, but that is a situation that Krishna gave to these pure devotees, because those situations offered the quickest way to make spiritual progress. So Krishna will do the same thing to us also. Krishna will forcefully put us in a situation which allows us to make very rapid progress. But I mean, I pray, not qualified, but I pray that I can appreciate Krishna's arrangement instead of complaining or whatever. So goal is to develop attachment to Krishna and Krishna's arrangement for us to make very quick spiritual progress. And more than, you should remember, we want to get rid of our impurities, we want to become pure devotee. More than anything else, Krishna wants that from us. Krishna really wants to make us pure devotees. Like this is, you can see Srila Prabhupada, how enthusiastic Prabhupada was. Prabhupada says in a lecture that Prabhupada said, you become Paramahamsa immediately. Prabhupada said, become Paramahamsa immediately. So that's how eager Prabhupada is to give it to us. So we have to, and of course, once we want Krishna and Krishna's pure devotional service, all these demigods, they will all help us, of course. but the most important thing is to associate with pure devotees. Like, I mean, no offense or no this thing, but we should be very careful who we are hearing from. Many times I see devotees hear kirtan of this person, that person. It's okay. But if you really want to make progress, hear from someone who you have faith in, someone who you want to be like, someone whose qualities you really want. Hear from such persons, because when you hear in that way, then you're actually in the mode of taking instruction. Otherwise, when you're just hearing from, whoever, then the mood is just, kind of, you just want to have some fun, some entertainment, and you're not really making progress. Because I've seen, when you hear from pure devotees, even you may not be attentive, some things stick, and later it comes up. Like, many times when I have the opportunity, not so sincere, but when I have the opportunity to hear Srila Prabhupada or read Prabhupada's books or hear from pure devotees, I see it sticks. And like, you won't believe it sticks, but it sticks, and later it'll come to your mind that, wow, this is what Prabhupada said yesterday. Even though I was so tired, so sleepy, and I read Prabhupada's purport, still I'm able to remember what Prabhupada says. Because why? Because that is pure devotee's mercy. This pure devotee's mercy. So the secret of making rapid Krishna conscious advancement is to be in good association and to try to mold our life according to the way pure devotees tell us to do, or whatever to do. So I would like to end here. Please forgive me if I spoke anything wrong, inappropriate. Anyone has any question or comment? Anyone has any question or comment?
Prabhuji, I had a question, not exactly related to this class,
Mhm.
but I wanted to ask, when we are hearing, hearing is also a service. When we are reading, reading is also a service. So sometimes I feel I'm reading and hearing for myself. So where is service coming here? Like it is for my own this thing, right? Whether my increasing my affection or increasing, so that my is there. So how am I serving the Lord in the process?
Yeah, because the thing is that by hearing from pure devotees, first of all, you're serving them, because they are speaking for the purpose of delivering fallen conditioned souls. So you are serving that saintly person from whom you are hearing, and you're serving Krishna because that's Krishna's desire, that you to develop affection for him. So yeah, that is actually the greatest service, and actually I would say that's the most important service. The most important service is hearing, because see, sometimes we're not able to hear, we're not able to feel, like the spiritual personality when they're speaking, we're not able to feel, uh, but um, but then uh, uh, but then uh, the most important thing is that uh, even on the intellectual platform, if we grab something from them, it's very, very useful, it's very helpful. So it's hearing is the most important service, and over all other services the most important thing, because uh, to begin with, our intelligence has to be sharpened. If we sharpen our intelligence and we have the proper mood, then we can surrender and we can get realization. So yeah, hearing attentively is very, very important. Even though we may not feel like hearing, even though we may not be inspired always, but we should hear uh, attentively. This is very, very important. And sometimes people say serving, and serving is good, serving is needed, but at the same time, hearing is also very, very important, because if we don't hear, then how do we know what we should do, right? Unless we hear. So we have to hear attentively, and hearing is the most important service, because at the end of the day, you have to pilot your own flight. I have to pilot my own flight. So if we don't hear attentively, where are we going to get the help? Like even our Shiksha Guru or whoever, they will not do it for us, right? We have to do it. So unless we are convinced and we are surrendered to what they're speaking, the principle, how will we do it? So that's why hearing is very important service. Like this, all these gurus, what is the most of their time goes in? The most of the time goes in, of course, apart from their own sadhana and things, most of the time goes in preparing and giving classes. So these classes are very important, and by hearing them, we're doing the greatest service to them. Like one time, one devotee was sharing. I think His Grace Rajvihari Prabhu was sharing that. One time, Maharaj was mentioning this point that one lady, she cooked something for Maharaj in some yatra, and then she offered to Maharaj. Maharaj said, "No, no, I will not take. I'm done." So then she asked again. Maharaj said, "No." Then she started crying. Maharaj said, "You are crying because I'm not accepting what you offered to me. Uh, I am I'm working so hard, I'm putting my breath, my everything into every class I give. And when devotees don't hear my classes, my disciples or devotees don't hear classes, then I cry." And also one more time, Radha Govind Maharaj's famous example, Vinand Prabhu was quoting that one time one devotee hosted Shri Radha Govind Maharaj, and so he invited Maharaj to his home. And then Maharaj came, he went to make the garland. And by the time he made the garland, came back and was putting on Radha Govind Maharaj, Maharaj was like near the end of the class. So Maharaj said, "Where were you? What were you doing?" Maharaj is making this garland. Maharaj said, "What is the use? I came to your home. The most important thing is to hear Hari Katha. But instead of hearing Katha, you wasted time on this garland. What's the use?" So, yeah, hearing is the most important service. Hearing is most important. So that's why we have to regularly hear from pure devotees. From pure devotees, we have to regularly hear. Um, yeah.
So, Prabhuji, how do we develop that mood that we are doing service to the Lord in hearing? Like, how do we uplift our consciousness and keep this fact that, my Lord, I'm doing this hearing service for you?
Yeah, I think the greatest service is actually to love Krishna. So the more and more we hear about Krishna, become attracted to Krishna, that is the greatest service to Krishna. We have to remember that the residents of Vrindavan, although they're doing so much service for Krishna, they never think it is service. They never think it is service, although it's service. So that is a consciousness we want to develop by hearing from pure devotees. That pure devotees, uh, pure devotees, mm, pure devotees, they um, they they do a lot of service, they do a lot of things, but they never think it is service. They just enjoy it. So because it's every opportunity is to love Krishna. So yeah, I think that slowly as we hear, I'm not qualified to speak, but slowly as we hear more and more, then we actually greatest service is to develop our love for Krishna. That's our greatest thing we can do. So as we hear more and more, then because the main problem is generally when we speak about service, it's like kind of I am doing something for someone, and there has to be like a tangible thing, and there has to be an output of that service. I have to get something, they have to get something. Like that's our general tendency, conception. But then with Krishna, like anything with Krishna is service, is loving service. But the residents of Vrindavan, they never think like that. That, oh, this is a service, I have to do this, and this is like no, this is a spontaneous
Thank you.
serving attitude comes. So I feel like it will come in course of time, but the important thing is that yeah, we keep hearing. This is the most important service. And Srila Prabhupada was saying the other day, he said that the spiritual life is like a razor's edge, a razor's edge. uh, and mm, and like what we have to do is that we have to be very careful. Then the next line Prabhupada said is, therefore we have to hear. We have to hear, we have to hear. So Prabhupada did not say even chant Prabhupada, because Prabhupada knows how difficult it is for us to do other practices because of time, place, circumstance. Like I know there are some devotees who are very fortunate, they chant constantly 24 hours. But uh, the inspiration to be on situation on that platform is to hear. That's at least that's what Srila Prabhupada said, and that's what Prabhupada purports. I mean, says in every class you see anywhere. Prabhupada says, "We are giving people a chance to hear. Please come and hear. Please come and hear." And Srila Prabhupada's greatest quality was his hearing, and actually that's the greatest thing we can get in our life. That when we can hear from pure devotees, either on phone, especially in person. When we can hear in person, it's even better because the faith of all the devotees adds up, and yeah, actually, that because of that, our mind is kind of situated in a better position of faith. We can hear, and if we can hear, we should have desire that the day will come. Just like we're speaking Bhagavatam, that just like Parishad Maharaj heard for 7 days, please we should hear for 4 or 5 hours, so that our consciousness can become absorbed, mm, and our consciousness can be purified. So yeah, hearing is, I mean, when I strive to apply this, but goal is to hear 24 hours, and we have audio devices here 24 hours. Keep hearing, and hope, and for sure hearing from pure devotees, even though we may not become completely purified, but definitely it helps a lot. It helps a lot. So basically we have to try, we have to do everything we can, and then of course the result is up to Krishna, up to Krishna's pure devotees. But we really have to hear as much as we can. It's the most important service, I feel, because see, that's what Guru represents, right? Guru represents Vani. So if you don't take advantage of the Vani, then that's what Guru is dying for. Why Guru is living in this world, why Guru is maintaining his body, why Guru is taking so much karma. Simply for this is a main service of Guru. You see, any spiritual master, even though some exalted pure devotees like Radha Govind may not be speaking now at this point in time, but that's what they have dedicated their life for. So yeah, that's the greatest way for us to reciprocate with them, is to hear, absorb the mood, and serve. Hear, absorb the mood, and serve.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for the reinforcement. It's just that sometimes I feel I hear for my own pleasure and I feel guilty about it. So
That's no problem. That's no problem. Just like prasad, right? Some I speak for myself. I eat prasad always for my own pleasure. That's what I love to do. So I'm not taking it as Krishna's remnants, but still, it slowly will come to that consciousness. So hearing for your own thing is also good, but yeah. So what you can do is you can try to apply, what was said. So that way, slowly it will become converted to uh, selfless hearing, uh, hearing for the pleasure of Krishna. So yeah, it will come. I mean, we pray while hearing, we pray before hearing. That's very powerful. Prayers are very powerful. That's why I feel the very important part of our movement is actually prayers. You know, praying. So we should hear prayers also. We should read prayers also. It's very important, because the actual prayer is such a deep thing that if you pray properly, your consciousness will become transformed immediately. It's immediate transformation. So immediate transformation. So yeah, we have to um, yeah, we really have to pray properly. And actually Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a prayer only. So this mode of prayer should be actually embedded with everything. And that's why, see, we don't know how to pray. Like bhakti is a cultivation. So that's why we have to study how acharyas are praying. That's the greatest force. See, I was yesterday, my son Yogesh and Bhadra were speaking brahmachari class. Chetan Charitamrita speaking about Shiksha Guru. So then, people very casually use this term Shiksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. And then it says Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru are non-different. And then I said, Prabhu, like Shiksha Guru is liberated associates. He said, no, Prabhupada is saying that Shiksha Guru will eventually become Diksha Guru. So Shiksha Guru is cultivating. Then went deeper. I said, Prabhu, not qualified. I don't want people to get my nonsense or get whatever anarthas I have in my heart. Then we went to a deeper discussion. Prabhupada said, Prabhuji said yes. And he's very humbly speaking, but he's speaking about saying that, yeah, we are not Shiksha Gurus, we are teachers. So, of course, Yogesh Prabhu is qualified, but speaking for myself. So then he said that we are teachers. So, yeah, so then what is the mood? Should be the mood of a teacher. What should be the mood? The mood is that I pray that whatever I speak, whatever people hear is not my words, but is the words of pure devotees. So, how much ever I am surrendered, of course, to that extent, pure devotees, the mood will act, but at least the words will be pure devotees' words so that people will actually benefit. And then the mood of a teacher is, okay, let's do whatever we can to help, people who we are kind of serving, so that I may be at Anatha Nivritti, I may be very low, but let them, become much, much better than me, because like everyone understands the difference, when you meet with pure devotees, Ranath Maharaj or whoever, like you can see the consciousness and the effect. And when people hear my disgusting classes, they can see the huge difference. So, it's quite pathetic, but yeah, that was a very nice discussion, very humbling discussion for me.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Please pray for me, Prabhuji, please.
Please,
Hare Krishna.
you are all more sincere than me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please
Yes.
accept my humble obeisances always to Prabhupada. Prabhu, I have a few questions if there's time.
Yeah, sure.
Prabhu, when you mentioned about the power of hearing, and just a few days ago I was hearing about when there were devotees offering their thing for Tamil, I think to Tamil Krishna Maharaj, and Tamil Krishna Maharaj was sharing that he, Brahmananda Prabhu and Prabhupada during Janmashtami, they would all sit and they were reading the Krishna books. Everyone were taking turns. And it was Srila Prabhupada's turn, and Srila Prabhupada is like, oh, it's my turn now, I want to read. So when you said the power of reading, the power of hearing is so much that inspires, even like Prabhupada, who wrote his own books, he wanted to read and hear, that was what I was relating and connecting it to. And Prabhu, when you mentioned about hearing, ours is a Sankirtan movement. It's a preaching movement, right? How do we reconcile the concept like, okay, hearing is there, but then because we are in the preaching movement, our service is also there. So how do we reconcile them both?
Yeah, that's what the best thing is. That's why we have earphones and headphones. So that we can keep hearing. Actually, there's a lot of time, I speak for myself, a lot of time is wasted in talking, just doing nothing, like when we're in the service also, what are we doing all the time? We may say, yeah, our hands are moving, our legs are moving, but our mind is free actually. And then if we don't fill it with transcendental sound, or we don't chant some prayers, mind will just drag us to anywhere and everywhere. What about this? What about that? Let's do this, let's plan that, and so we have actually a lot of time. While eating, what do? We do nothing. Mind is free. When sleeping, before you go to sleep, what does mind does? Nothing. So much time. We have actually a lot of free time. Is Sankirtan movement also. You see, like even my favorite spiritual master and Ranath Maharaj, every time I've seen so many lectures. Oh, today morning I heard a lecture of Prabhupada. You heard a lecture of Prabhupada? you're so busy, you still heard a lecture of Prabhupada every day. How you found the time? So my revered spiritual master, I would see like when we would stay with him, Mayapur, he would at, like 2 in the morning, would hear Prabhupada lecture playing. So like that's how much they were so attached to hearing that they do anything it takes to hear. So yeah, I mean, we have to be attached. And also while taking prasad, my spiritual master would tell devotees to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. So there's no time actually. One time there was one incident, my spiritual master was taking prasad and I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and for some time he just kind of closed his eyes and he just so much absorbed in the pastime that he just completely absorbed, like completely absorbed. So yeah, so these spiritual masters, they have a lot of attachment to hearing. They hear all the time, they hear the hearing and chanting. Hearing, when when they have time, when they have opportunity, they chant. Others, they hear constantly. And also speaking, while speaking also we hear. We're meant to hear. So while speaking also we're meant to pray. So Sankirtan movement means that we are helping others and at the same time helping ourselves also, like simultaneously. And actually the real mood is I'm only helping myself. I'm not, I mean, I'm helping them, but the real thing is I'm helping myself. That's the real goal of this thing, is to help myself. So that's the mood of our Sankirtan movement. And I'm doing this for my own purification. Like Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, I'm writing this for my own purification. What others may get, that is between them and Krishna. But personally, I am writing this for my own purification. So yeah, so we are doing, but we're hearing at the same time. We're hearing at the same time. So both
Prabhu,
things happen.
sorry to pause you. Now here is, this is another point I just wanted to ask is, so we are saying this is for our own purification, but the ultimate goal is for Krishna's pleasure, right? So
Yeah,
so
correct.
there is that journey again, because that is a bigger, or like a bigger
Yeah, actually,
journey.
to be, I mean, of course, we should not think so much it's for my own purification. I mean, it's a humble mood that we should cultivate, my own purification. But the time when we can actually do something for Krishna's pleasure on a very firm, strong way, is it will only happen when we actually become liberated. So then we can think for Krishna's pleasure and we can actually relate with that. Otherwise, it's like, it's good, we should try, we should definitely try to do always for Krishna's pleasure. But that will come on the liberated platform. But of course, we can pray. Like, for example, before I give Bhagavatam class, many times I pray that please, I want to speak for the pleasure of the deities. I don't want the deities to be disappointed with what I'm speaking. So yeah, I mean, we can pray for Krishna's pleasure, of course. But yeah, I mean, to please Krishna, like to really please Krishna, that is only possible on liberated platform. But yeah, uh, yeah, we should definitely pray that I want to please Krishna, I want to please Krishna, I want to please Krishna. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is very good prayer and a very important cultivation. Whatever preaching we're doing, that am I really helping him to come closer to Krishna or not? This is the real thing.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, nobody else has any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhuji, thank you so much for giving us a wonderful reminder, refreshing and powerful class, Prabhuji. I really liked so much, Prabhuji. It was very inspiring. And I just have a quick question, Prabhuji, if you allow me to.
Yes.
Prabhuji, you mentioned, it's a beautiful point you brought it. Like, devotees, when they were serving in New Vrindavan, they did not have any plans. We understand the difference, what we mean by plan. But it is very difficult to even conceive, Prabhuji. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, plan means like, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm a very disgusting person. Like, okay, I'm serving deities now. So what you'll do after 5 years? Okay, I have a desire. I want to increase my preaching. After 5 years, I want to travel and preach. These are all plans actually, which means that I'm just being very honest. We have a desire to do this preaching, that preaching. I mean, it's one thing if authority tells us to do, that's one thing, senior. But if it's more just like, I want for my name and my fame, I want to, I want to do something, to get appreciation. So that's what I mean by plans, that you have a desire to, okay, you value this, but at the same time, you want something else too, it's kind of like, okay, I have some, what is it? No, I have some, what is it? Poha and some chutney. It's good, but I also want some, real things, rasgulla and sweets. So it's kind of that mentality. But the mentality of pure devotees is no, it's not like that. It's like everything is sweet, everything is rasgulla. And His Grace Rajbihari Prabhu made a very nice point that he said, yes, we want to make progress, but we should understand that actually now I'm serving Krishna is a perfection of my life. Like my spiritual master said so many times, a perfection of my life is a perfection. So why Maharaj is saying this is a perfection? Is not the perfection. Perfection is prema. Why he's saying? Now I understood. Oh, yeah, this is a perfection, because ultimately only thing which is different is a consciousness, right? So if you feel like, okay, this is my eternal service, this is what I'm doing, and you're satisfied, then you're actually drawing power from the present. Otherwise, you're going to the future. Okay, I will do this, I will do. You're not really drawing power from the present, and that's not really what Krishna consciousness is about. Krishna consciousness is about doing every service with a mentality that, yeah, this is the greatest gift of Krishna, greatest opportunity to serve Krishna. And that's why it's very important to read and hear, because many times we don't understand. Actually, if you don't mind, I know it's really late, but if the devotees are okay, I want to read something. This is actually from Narottam Vilas. This is the uh, about the beauty of Lord Chaitanya. And like when we read about these kind of pastimes that pure devotees have, it really opens our eyes and really makes us understand that what we should really be seeing. Are we seeing this? We're seeing Krishna. Are we really seeing Krishna? We're seeing Lord Chaitanya. Did we really see Lord Chaitanya? So that's why it's very important for us to read these things, and especially the Acharya's books like Narottam Vilas, the Prem Vilas, ISKCON Desiratory. They speak about how devotees serve the Lord. What is their mood of service? How Janva Mata used to cook. What do you think about cooking? Yeah, cooking, cooking, and eat, just go for preaching. Cooking is boring. But when we see actually how they cooked, how they serve, we really become very inspired, and we can draw strength from whatever service we do by being fully absorbed. And this planning nature, see, the goal is to be fully absorbed, not planning at all. That's the goal, to come to that kind of consciousness, just being blissful, satisfied in whatever we're doing, and just like without any ahankar. I mean, I'm not there, but that's my goal. So I would just like to end with this. This is really ecstatic. This is from Narottam Vilas. This is by Narahari Chakravarti, one of our previous acharyas. So this is just one paragraph about Lokanath Goswami achieving darshan of Mahaprabhu, and he's describing Mahaprabhu's beauty. Rolling on the ground, he cried pitifully until at last he fell asleep. This is Lokanath Goswami. In his dream, he finally received the long-awaited darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His effulgent body was covered with yellow sandalwood paste, shining with a brilliance unknown to gold. Perfectly arranged hair, decorated with fresh flowers, surrounded his exquisite face, and his forehead was neatly marked with tilak. Who would not be captivated by his gorgeous lotus eyes, majestic eyebrows, enticing smile which easily defeated the beauty of the moon? A sacred thread was draped across his broad chest, and his long arms touched his knees. His dhoti was folded in 3 places, and his transcendental body was bedecked with ornaments. He spoke affectionately to Lokanath. I shall always be with you, relishing loving pastimes here in my eternal abode, Navadvip. Even great personalities like Lord Brahma are unable to understand this dham of mine. Saying this, he embraced Lokanath and disappeared. So this is from Narottam Vilas. This is page number 2, end of the page is describe the beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
That was amazing, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Very grateful, Prabhuji.
Again, please forgive me. I know all of you are so much more exalted than me, and I'm not qualified to speak in front of all of you. But hopefully, I pray that you all will bless me that I can make progress in bhakti. So I'm very grateful to all the devotees for tolerating me week after week. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Shyam Kishore Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu.